another episode in the TRC How-To series. Today we're going to be discussing how to shave with an SE or gem style razor. This is the Blackland Sabre. Currently have the #1 plate on here. A couple things to keep in mind when you're using a gem style razor is that these blades are a lot more rigid and thick than a DE blade or even that of an AC style blade. So there's very little flex in there. Also the angle of approach, because of that, the shape of the head is also very different. And we'll go over all that during the shave. Now the soap I'm using this evening is Varin from Sterling. This, I believe, was a fougere made for the a group out of the Netherlands, hence the Netherlands flag there. The brush I'm using is my Smiles for Miles, vintage #4. And the brush is the TRC Travel Bowl in, I can't remember what they call this, but blue. Very nice little bowl, has a little bit of flex to it, it's 3D printed, but it does have ridges that you kind of can't see very well on here, but this lad whipped up exceptionally fast. All right, so as I mentioned, a couple things to keep in mind when it comes to using a gem style razor is, of course, you can go with a vintage one. There are a lot of vintage options out there. Or if you want to get a modern one, the Sabre is my personal favorite for the modern. However, you can get one from Phoenix Rose and Accoutrements, the Starling. That is also a fantastic modern gem style razor. That one, I have one that lives in my travel kit, and that will break out occasionally because I just want to use it because it's a great razor as well. But as I mentioned, the blades are a lot thicker than that of a standard DE. You know, a DE, you can take it, you can flex it, and you can bend the blade quite a bit before it snaps in half if you're using a ½ inch or a half blade razor. These don't bend that much. They're also quite a bit wider, or basically the entire head from here to the guard plate is the blade. The Sabre, if I undo this real fast, has a small center post right there that actually goes through a hole in the blade. That's why we can have this head more symmetrically posted. Whereas if you look at the MMOC, we see that the handle is quite big there, but then we have the head. So use this, as I mentioned, stretching is important, but don't stretch too much because these blades are sharp, just like a DE, but they're thicker, so they act differently. So stretch a little bit, but don't over shape. So if you stretch like this during a normal DE shave, don't do that. You have a high chance of getting weepers or creepers. Also, you want to keep your head almost flat. So you can do this and pull up a little bit. You don't want to approach that at the standard DE angle. That would be very uncomfortable because you're hitting the edge of the blade differently. Another thing to keep in mind is do not, and I repeat, do not use a razor or the blade that is designed to go like to a paint scraper or anything you pick up at the hardware store. They are not made for shaving. What you can do, my personal favorites, are the PTFE coated blades. I find that they're a little bit more smooth on the first couple of shaves than the non-coated blades. You can see here I'm stretching a little bit, but not much. Not as much as if I were shaving with a Chevette or a straight razor, because that can cause a little bit of weepers and creepers. Here the angle's slightly different because I'm trying to line up the goatee. But as you can see, the angle here is fairly shallow. And that took down, first pass, did really well on 2 days worth of growth. Something that a lot of people really like about the gem style razors is that the blades, because they are thicker, do tend to provide more shaves than a standard DE. Generally speaking, I'll get 3 shaves out of a blade. Occasionally I'll push one to 4, depending on the blade. Some of them I throw away after 2 uses. The gem blades, it is not uncommon that I get into the double digits. They have the kind of longevity like an AC blade. They can last for a while. But as I mentioned, some people, especially when you're first starting using a gem blade, is they can be a little sharp, they can be a little unruly. So if you ever heard about corking a blade before, that is a kind of a very common practice with gem blades. You just run it through once or twice on a cork. Kind of take that initial roughness, if you will, out of the blade. And something else that you can do is you can palm strop the blade as well. And I can demonstrate that as, when I finish up. Soap is absolutely fantastic. I'm sure most of you that are watching this have used Sterling at one point. If you like the Fougere scent, I can highly recommend Varen or Varen, however you say that in Dutch. I don't speak Dutch. But it's a great scent. Fougere is one of my favorite scents overall. And I really, really like Varen. I was thrilled when I saw that TRC had it in stock, so I ordered it. All right, now final pass. Again, keep that blade very shallow. Just an ever so slight lift up when the head is flat against your face or neck. Stretch a little bit, but not too much. You can always kind of let go if you feel it's starting to tug at all while you're shaving. Then it's getting really close. It's probably gonna get a little bit of those bumps on your skin. So just ease off a little bit when you're out of the stretch. So again, I'm not stretching a whole lot, keeping that nice shallow angle. And if you're uncomfortable using these for the full shave the first couple of times, there's nothing wrong with doing your cheeks one pass and then going on to back to a DE or something else. Perfectly fine. And unless you're recording your shaves or doing it live, no one's judging. You can also buff, as you just saw me doing there, is right here that grows a little stubborn. There we go. Going nice against the grain pass, so getting some good stubble. I'm sure you can hear that feedback. If you like feedback, the SE is going to give you a lot of feedback. It's awesome. I'll go for that aspect. It cuts nice and close, usually on a good shave. Looks like I got myself a little bit there because I was stretching a little bit too much. I felt it. I was doing this to stretch to get here. Had a little bump right there that just kind of got. Happens. And again, a little bit of buffing. Although the hair's not long enough, it needs a buff. Perfect against grain pass. Nice and flat again on the face. Just a little gap there. As I'm going up against the grain towards my head. And that was fantastic. So now, let's straighten up these lines a little bit here. Not straighten up, but just kind of clean up in that area. There we go. So there, a nice, fairly quick shave with an SE blade. Now, as I mentioned, so I'll show you the top cap of the Sabre and kind of how it sits there with, as I showed you, compare the NLC, the Micromac open comb. So there's the hole. And as you can see, I've marked this blade here. This is my 7th shave on this blade. Perfectly smooth. And you can see that the post went right through that. So now when I get this off, and I always, if you're new to wet shaving, definitely recommend taking your blade out, letting it air dry if you're not going to. If you're going to shave the next day, or if you're not going to shave the next day, take the blade out. As you can see, there's very, very little flex on that spine. Now, if you have one of these, you can do a palm strop. So you just take the palm of your hand, kind of the meaty part. Depending if you're left or right-handed, you can usually do it on the outside and start. You can just put it lie flat on your palm and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Flip the blade over and do the same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can do as many times as you want. I usually do about 5 to 10 passes on there, just to kind of clean up those little rough edges. Because again, this blade is pretty thick, and you can see even there, not a lot of bend, not a lot of give. But that is how you use or shave with a single edge gem style razor. Use the modern Blackland Sabre with the #1 plate. Looks like that's already gone, that little bump. If you have any questions, comments, go ahead and leave them in the comments below, and we'll respond as quick as possible. Thanks, and have a great day.